Hello and welcome to another Movie Reviews by Benjamin. It has been an extremely busy week for movies. Caught three this week. It'll be three altogether. I just watched, 2 days ago, I watched Mortal Instruments, City of Bones, which we're getting ready to talk about here in just a second. I also just got out of You're Next, the new horror movie that just came out. Just got out of that a couple hours ago. And here in a couple hours, I will be going to see The World's End, the new British comedy from the guys who made Shaun of the Dead. So should have a review up of that probably Sunday. But today we are going to do two different reviews. First one is going to be for Mortal Instruments. Second one will be for You're Next. So let's go ahead and jump into Mortal Instruments. I didn't really know too much about this one. I do know it's based off a novel, much like Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Twilight, all that sort of stuff. Teen angst and all that sort of thing was going to be the main deal here. I know that they're demon hunter sort of things. By the way the trailer looked like it was going to be just awful. I was actually kind of excited to watch this movie because I was planning on giving it a pretty terrible review, but this movie actually really surprised me a lot. Special effects were actually really decent for this movie. They had a budget of $60 million. Like I said, this movie came out 2 days ago. It is Friday. Came out on a Wednesday release, so it hasn't made a ton yet. It's only made $4 million so far. We'll kind of see where they're at on Monday, see how they're doing. But this movie, there's good and there's bad to it. As far as if you're someone who's not really familiar with anything in that genre, like I said, Twilight, Harry Potter, that sort of thing, this movie's going to seem like, oh my gosh, what an original storyline, this is so great. And it does have some stuff that's somewhat original, but this is a huge compilation of tons of other movies. They kind of take bits and pieces, and I don't necessarily want to say they're stealing, but they're definitely borrowing some of the ideas. The list is actually pretty long. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I have been forever. I've watched the movie since I was a little tiny kid. If you're a fan of the original trilogy and you watch this movie specifically, you're going to see something huge that reminds you so much of Star Wars. You can kind of see it coming somewhat. It's a very odd twist. I won't reveal anything here, no spoilers, but it is definitely at the core of Star Wars all the way. There's Twilight in this movie. There is Blade 2 in this movie. There is Harry Potter in this movie. Their thing that they call the Institute, this big building that's kind of right in the middle of New York, is masked from the human world. Shows up just like anything that's hidden in the Harry Potter world. It's very, if you've seen any of these other movies, you're going to recognize that in this movie here. Not to say that this movie is bad by any means at all. Definitely has some interesting parts to it. Some main characters are definitely in some big-time mortal danger. Like I said, no spoilers, but it is pretty interesting. Some of the dialogue, I didn't realize that it was going to be kind of some of the stuff is actually definitely played for comedy, and I laughed several times in this movie. I thought it was really good. The bad guy being Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Of course, the main character to this movie is Lily Collins. She does a really good job. For those of you who've watched her on TV before, I'm not too familiar with her work, but I was impressed with this so far. And then, of course, we did have Lena Headey, who plays her mother from Game of Thrones fame, as Cersei Lannister on that show. But yeah, everyone does a really good job in this movie. The acting is, it's pretty decent. Like I said, this is going to be kind of your teen sort of deal, but it is kind of interesting, some of the stuff they throw in. I don't think it's a huge spoiler here. There's one of the characters that's actually gay in the movie, and they kind of, I guess they're, what they are, the shadow hunters is what they're called. They're descendants of angels. Well, it's an angel who bled into a cup. One of the mortal instruments is this cup, named after the movie. And then the Crusaders drank from the cup, became half angel, half human. Nephilim, for those of you who are familiar with that sort of storyline from the Bible, and then they kind of make it work for here. These are the descendants of them, and they fight demons, hunt them down, and kill them. So overall, it's kind of a religious overtones. Technically, they do work for a church. They are, like I said, angels who obviously work for God. Trickles kind of down like that. One of them, though, one of the good guys is gay, and he has a thing for one of the other guys, and they're like, we don't ever talk about that because it's not allowed within their little group of people that they work with. So I kind of thought that was a little bit of a nod to a lot of conservative churches feel like gay rights and all that stuff. They oppose it. So it's kind of interesting to see that there for those of you who are interested in a little bit more political view on a teen sci-fi fantasy thrill ride. But it's actually good. It's about 2 hours long. Never really found myself bored at all. Movie really moves along great. You've got all the creatures in the book: werewolves, vampires, demons, angels, a little bit of everything in this movie. But they did a really good job. Like I said, they really haven't made too much so far. I'd like to see this kind of go farther. I'm not exactly sure how many books there are. I believe it's 3 or 4, but I'd have to double check. And I'm looking forward to a sequel for this movie. I mean, it's not The Hunger Games. It's definitely not Harry Potter, but it's definitely something to look forward to. I was thinking, really low budget. I was thinking maybe, like the first Twilight movie, which had terrible special effects. This one here actually does really good on that. So go out, watch this movie if you have an afternoon or evening off and you've seen everything else that's out. I definitely say to check this out. Like I said, I was thinking about walking into this one and giving it like a 1 or a 2, but I'm actually going to go ahead and give it a 6.9. Quite a bit higher than what I thought I was going to do. Really surprised myself with this one just because of the tones of the movie and everything and the way the trailer sells it, but it actually does a really good job. So go out, check this one out. It's not high priority. Don't put this at the top of your list, but it is a really good time. Of course, like I said, we will be doing another review for Your Next. That is what will be coming up next on Movie Reviews by Benjamin. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook at Movie Reviews by Benjamin. And until then, I will see you at the movies.